Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jacob Fisher, and today we're talking about the first $1,000 you have to invest. The first 1,000, you got it? Now it's time to invest it, right? Now a lot of people might tell you to invest in Bitcoin, GameStop, yourself, or real estate. Okay, fine. I don't know how you invest $1,000 in real estate unless you're using an app like Fundrise, but still, it's an option people toss out there. Those are all investments you could make and are definitely much riskier than other options you could do with your $1,000. You could save it as well. It doesn't matter how you procured your $1,000 either. You just have it now, you have $1,000. So let's get into what you should do with your first $1,000 to invest in. But let's tap that like button and subscribe if you like content like this. In today's world, you definitely have a few options of things you can do with that $1,000. You could trade options. You could lose it all too. And I figured it'd be great to go over 3 options ranging from risky to not very risky at all. It all depends on how much you tolerate risk or how much you like to take risks. I'm a bit of the middle ground. I like to take, some risks, but at the same time, I do want my money to be relatively safe. I think one of my first investments was in Beyond Meat, AMD, Tesla, Roku, and Apple. Apple isn't super risky out of all those things, but the others are certainly a bit more risky. That's just my personal preference, and so far it's paid off. But I imagine not everyone wants the risk of being down to 10 to 20% on a position. The first option that you can do with your first $1,000 doesn't even involve that much risk though. All you need to do is open a savings account. I know. Absolutely thrilling. You can watch another video of mine on the corner on how I beat savings accounts APR. But these are the top savings accounts on the screen right now. When certain economic hardships relax over the next few years, or get better, whatever you want to call it, then I'm sure we're going to see an increase in the savings account interest rates. They used to be around 1 to 2% per year, but they have since come down to a measly 0.5%. I know, it's low. If left for 40 years, your $1,000 would turn into $1,220.79. Wow. Not very much, but it is very safe. You can always go to your savings account and withdraw that money to use in an emergency. That's, why people use them for emergency funds. It's a perfect place or account to store your expenses for 3 to 6 months. It's just where a lot of people go to store their emergency fund, so it grows a little bit rather than like a 0% in your checking account. I have around that much, but I also have another 3 to 6 months in expenses in low risk stocks yielding 2% or so in dividends each and every year. That's what I consider pretty safe or relatively safe. Those are more if my emergency fund does run out, then I have more to fall back on, just in case. Option 2 is to invest in an ETF that will do the work for you, or invest in individual stocks that you pick yourself. You can check out how I find stocks in the corner, but a safe option is something that tracks the S&P 500 like SPY or VOO. They yield around 10 to 11% per year, and it's a particularly good option to consider. But again, you will have some downside during a market decline like we saw back in March or back in 2008. You have to know that you can't touch this money, or that you won't touch this money at least until you retire or until you really need it and it's gone up a bit in value. Or you just want your money to go quicker and invest in dividend stocks to live off of eventually. If left for 40 years, just left there, no contributions at all, then your $1,000 return into $45,259. This is just what your money turns into with compound interest, which can be a very powerful thing. And the stock market growing each and every year, of course, if it doesn't grow, maybe it goes down one year, then maybe it goes up 20% in a year. It just averages to 10%. Hopefully we continue this trend of 10% a year. I would enjoy that. The nice thing about stocks is that you should be adding more and more each and every year. At least that's what I do, and I think what most people do. So hopefully your stocks grow even more. Even just adding an extra $100 a month would really help out your growth. You can make that $100 a month with DoorDash, or just cutting down your spending in one category in your life to save even more. That extra $100 a month, again, invested in the S&P 500 would yield you $576,000, a little bit more, compared to just the $49,000 total that you invested through those years. Some great ETFs again are SPY and VOO, with both of them just tracking the S&P 500. I mean, they're just great things to consider. It doesn't grow very quickly. Well, sometimes it does, like the past year, but it also declines. But they should grow on average 10 to 11% a year. I personally have a reoccurring buy on Robinhood. Well, I used to be on Robinhood, but I think it's about $100 a month just going to VOO because it's a great stock or ETF to invest into. VOO has a lower expense ratio than SPY, which is why I've chosen it, and it's pretty much just the same thing. It's also something to consider, those expense ratios, so you don't spend too much money on someone else managing your portfolio. I also invest in other names because I just personally like choosing individual names sometimes. You can subscribe and follow my live stream for my portfolio review every single month. Finally, we have the last option, the riskiest and what you probably guessed or not, I actually have no idea, is to invest in starting a business. While this $1,000 might end up absolutely worthless, it could also end up into a huge opportunity for you. Let's take a small case study of just one person. We're not going to take a million people, that would take too long, but we're going to use Richard Branson, who, if you don't know who he is, he founded the Virgin Group, Virgin Space, Virgin Galactic, Virgin Airlines, you know, the whole thing. A long time ago, his mother found a necklace on the ground and gave it to the police to return it to the person who dropped this necklace, you know, for the rightful owner. However, nobody claimed this necklace and she gave it to her son, Richard. I wonder if they call him Rich, who sold it for 100 euros, which in today's time is around $1,900. It's a little over budget, I know, but they used that money, him and his company partner, used that money to pay their bills on the student magazine they started, which would have collapsed without that money. A few years later, they used that mailing ability from the magazine to start and create Virgin Records, and the rest is history. Then we have Virgin Galactic and more. So I guess in 40 years, or maybe more, you could turn $1,000 into millions of dollars. Sure, this might be an extreme example, but you could try something out on a smaller scale. You could create a dropshipping company. I think people still do that. Or a product that you want to sell that you create yourself. You might not make any money or barely break even, but you could also learn various tactics of business development that could help you down the line in another business. Maybe you have an idea for a backpack that does everything you need it to. All you need is a few people interested in the backpack, plus the cost of setting up shop and getting the bags made. As long as you know people will buy, then you are probably good with starting a business. You don't necessarily need to create an innovative product for an unknown market, but you could make a new product to an existing market, kind of solve a problem in that market that you're having, potentially. It would be much easier if you knew the market was there rather than trying to find that market again. You can learn 90% of the things you need to start a business for free online too. So while you create your plan, your money can sit and grow in the SPY, right? And maybe it'll grow up to that $1,900 that Richard started with, and then you'll have a little bit more to start your business with. That's my advice on what I would do with my first $1,000. I did the second thing. It's grown a little bit, or quite a bit. You could also just buy GameStop calls. Actually, I don't even know where you buy GameStop calls anymore. They're so restricted. And follow everything on Wall Street Bets. Maybe you'll make a lot of money. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if any of these ideas are awful. I upload videos on Monday and Friday on travel and finance, so if that sounds like something interesting to you, hit that little subscribe button down there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.